So today I thought we'd actually run the original mechanized robot, Robby robot if you will, and also some of the Osaka tin reproduction, reissue, whatever you'd like to call them, mechanized robots that go back to the 1990s now. Hard to believe it's been almost 30 years. But then you got to keep in mind that the original one here is from the mid-50s, so sucker's over 60 years old, going on 70. So here's the original box. There were several versions of the toy, originally sold with C-cell batteries in the legs, and then later sold with the D-cell, black and silver being the primary colors. There was, you stop and think about from the mid-50s and all the functions that they were able to put into it, besides the walking and moving pistons that are lit, both rotors rotating, and the one really advanced feature that people hardly ever talk about is the steering. The ratchet wheels in the back actually turn a gear set on the robot's right foot, and this wheel will turn. So after the robot has taken X number of steps, if I'm turning the right one, I think we are. See, it's starting to turn. So after the robot has walked a certain amount of distance, it then turns and then will click and go back to walking straight again. I don't think you've seen that on any other toy. And the D-cell batteries go in here. This has the knurled knob, which is the older version. And the all black. Your on-off switch is right here in the chest. You also see this toy featured in a Twilight Zone episode. I think it was Pitch for the Gods or Pitch for the Heavens or something like that. Still working after all these years. Walking or wanting to turn a little bit. In this original version, they the pistons that move up here in the head and the rotating ear things, they're all driven by a belt, a rubber belt that comes down to a pulley in the bottom of the gearbox. And usually the original belts do turn hard, rot, disintegrate after 60, almost 70 years. And it is possible with special tools to, if you can get the old rotten one out, to insert a new one, but you do end up having to take one of the ear cups off to do that. And that's always a dangerous thing to do, because to get the cups off, you first have to remove these little tabs to get this out of the way, and then you've got these little tabs that bend in that hold the cups on. Every time you bend a little piece of metal like that, the odds of you breaking it off and ever getting it back together are slim to none. And so then in the 1990s, Osaka Tin Toy did their version of the mechanized robot, and they all look great. I've got 11 or 12. I've got 11 different color variations that they did them, and this was the rare Kitahara color, made for Kitahara in Japan. And the only thing they really did wrong on this whole reproduction is they put 6 plastic gears inside of it, and the gears do break. And once they break, you've got a very expensive toy that can no longer work, which is okay, because I really bought them to put on display in the museum, which means they don't have to run. They're standing there for other people to admire and look at. I can't remember if they put in the turning wheel thing or not. It feels like they did. See how I can turn this by hand? Let's see. Yep, starting to turn. There it goes. So they reproduced all of the functions. Got the rotating ears and pistons and light. Got your on-off switch. You can pose the arms a little bit. And this one works. So for whatever reason, my Kitahara one still works. Then of course they redid the box, and there are some slight differences in the box art. So people that are trying to pawn off one of these as the original won't be able to do so. Some of the other color variations that they did on the Osaka tin toy we're talking about now. For example, they did a Ray Roar one in white, very rare. Then they did the nickel. People like to call it chrome, but it's actually a nickel plate and the gold plate. And of course the standard black, like the original, kind of a metallic gold paint, kind of a smoky silver gray, nice looking blue, silver, which is more like one of the original colors, red, which is always what it looks like on the box art, but you never really see the toy done in. See, on the box art they always showed it as red for whatever reasons. So there you have it, the original Mechanized Robot. Like I say, it's dating back, what, 1956, 1957? Long time ago. And then the 1990's when they started making early. Maybe 1990, 1991, right in there. Osaka Tin Toy making their reproduction version of Robby the Robot, or in this case, since they didn't want to pay royalties, Mechanized Robot.